Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of My Little Conversations. My name is Wanjiko Edna, and I'm the host of this podcast. And I'm also pissed. You might be asking why, and I'll just give you like the best explanation why. So, if you're in Kenya, if you're not in Kenya, I bet you know about the hashtag reject finance bill and how politicians are dirty, and now their numbers are all over. People are salimiaring them and all that. And now there's a whole debate between like Gen Z and politicians, and anyone who is protesting is now a Gen Z, which is crazy because bro, most of the people out there are Gen Z and millennials. But anyway, so there's this whole talk about Gen Z. Do they want instant gratification? They want instant results. They're not patient. They're the microwave generation, the ATM generation. Ati they didn't know how to queue like kwa bank or like warming food kwa stove or shit like that. And I'm like, okay, hear us out. This nigga has been in power since 2022. This is 2024. We're almost 2 years in. We're not even 2 years in yet, but it's like a good, I think, 20 months. I'm not sure. But that's a lot of time. If I look at where I was in 2022, man, days have passed. So you can be calling us the impatient generation just because we've um we've been brought up by things that bring instant like results, and that's not what we want. We want to see action. We want you to make the first step towards what we want, not calling people for dialogue every time, because you have to talk about something and then you have to actualize it. You have to plan something, but then you have to take the first step and continue and continue, and by the end of it there needs to be a result. But you don't just talk all day long every day for 365 days in a year. So anyway, you might be wondering why I'm pissed. I'm not even pissed about, okay, I am pissed about this, but that's not even what I wanted to talk about. There's something that is on getting on my nerves like really, 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 really badly. And it's how the church are behaving. Like, bro, I openly go to church. I don't even hide it. But I wouldn't say, there's people that will go to this specific church and say, if I can go to this church, I'm not going to church. And if we're being honest, that's low key worshiping the pastors there or something. Cause if you're going to church, I think you know your business there and you know what you're going to do. And it doesn't matter who's on the pulpit or who's speaking or who sits at the front or whatever. It matters, like what matters is what you go to do. But for some reason, during what are they called? During the damn, when these politicians are vying, what's it called? Damn, the word's not coming. Hey, okay. Anyway, yeah, when politicians are going around before they vie and speaking about their nonsensical promises, as we can see, like there are so many churches that were openly welcoming Ruto, and it was so like it was well known that he's a quote unquote man of God. That's what everyone knew. That's what he manipulated and lied to everyone to believe. And what were in your box? Let's be honest. There's so many people who are vouching for Ruto, and it is like it's evident. There were like four are they called participants? Really, I don't know. There were four presidential candidates. Yeah, and out of the four, everyone knew like the president as the man of God, because he was going to church. He was giving money for fundraisers and in church mostly. Like every single Sunday, I can bet he used to go to a church, and the news was all over that he's in church. And you know And it's ridiculous that he actually used to get a chance to talk to people and lie a bit more. So anyway, so now comes fast forward to 2024, the month of June. Smack in the middle of June, um, Ruto does a number and decides, you know what? I'll overtax these motherfuckers because they can't see shit, and they're all a bunch of 75 million dumb people, and no one will see through like my lies or through this finance bill. So people go on the road and they're like, bro, we don't want this bill. It's going to overtax us. We would like we'll be struggling and we're already struggling and we are struggling because of you, because vitu zimepanda if you're being honest since this man was in power. But anyway, mm, from the beginning, by the way, from the literally the first few days, people are opening their businesses for like to shelter protesters. People are giving out money, people are giving out food, people are giving out literal, even there's some people who are even buying like a lot of masks and giving them out. Medics were volunteering their services like for free, same as lawyers. But for some reason the church was quiet. In a particular church, like very close to parliament, called Holy Family Basilica, which is a Catholic church, was very busy chasing people out instead of welcoming and sheltering people, which is outright crazy if you ask me. Because I remember the first day, there was absolutely no business that was looted, no business that was stolen from, no one died. So, wait, like, if you look around, everyone is helping, but the church wants to close its doors. That's a very big question mark, if you ask me. Like, why though? So, anyway, these guys get called out, and all of a sudden, now they want to accommodate people. And because they're not the only church that has been called out, churches in general have been called out and they're being asked, why are you not doing anything? Why don't you want to talk to this man of God as you give him the platform to Nini to Kai? Imagine that word isn't coming yet, but anyway, I know you understand. Why did you give him this platform in 2022 when he was vying, but now when he's like pushing our buttons and we're on our last nerves and he's literally like torturing people with this bill, you all don't want to talk? And the church was still quiet, which was not shocking really, but I thought wangejitetea. So fast forward, the first week is over. And now, like, there were 3 deaths, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, something like that. And it's like the church releases Haya Nikomoto. So now they start saying they'll pray for us for some reason. Which I don't. Okay, praying is not bad, by the way. Praying works. You can pray for yourself also. You don't need a pastor to pray for you. You know yourself best. And I'll give a story at the end of this podcast this episode before it ends. I'll give a very short, brief story. But anyway, there's so much more to be done. You don't just pray and sit pretty. You pray and do something. Even us on the road, we are protesting, but trust, we prayed in the morning when we woke up and we were like, God, hey, we need to fight this government, but protect us from the police or from, whatever. So I don't know. The next week, the church is quote unquote praying for us. This man was already in 2 churches, Saturday and Sunday, I think. I don't know if it was 2 or 3, but he had already gone to church again. And the churches opened their doors for him and gave him a platform to address people in the church after he had killed people, because he is a commander of the defense forces, which means he's like the overall commander of the police. So he could have stopped this with a snap of his fingers, but he doesn't care. He doesn't give two shits. So yeah, anyway, the churches opened the doors for him again, and now week 2, more people have died, and instead of the police calling him out, I mean the church calling him out and telling him what you're doing is wrong, blah blah, the photos circulating of bishops with what are they called, envelopes of cash, which we assume is what is in the envelopes, coming out from State House, smiling very nicely, because obviously those are handouts. And you know something crazy I learned literally this past week is that there's a pastor who's usually paid like on salary basis to pray for the country. That is crazy. Wait, okay, damn, that's crazy. Ni kama the way in school there used to be a chaplain, and the chaplain was under Nini, under I'm a priest. He was always in the chapel in school or something like that. And you could go to the chapel and get prayed for by the said priest or chaplain. But yo, that's crazy. There's an actual pastor who's paid, I think, as a salary or weekly or something like that by the government, courtesy of a dear first lady. Anyway, so I'll keep this short. I think I'll end it here, but I had promised a story. So very, very short story. And this is proof that you don't need a pastor to pray for you. You okay, you could go to church for fellowship, for networking, to like get a second, what's it called, like to get hey, you know, like the way pastors have gone to Bible school and they can interpret the Bible in ways we probably can't, to get their opinion or something like that, or to get further educated. But in my opinion, you don't have to be prayed for by a pastor. Ati yo sijui unaenda unaekelewa mikono. Kwanza these ones that pray and wanakuangusha or something. That's outrightly crazy. So anyway, before I digress, this story I was telling you. So some background information that you need to know before I give this story. My mom and dad don't live together. It is something I say openly, and yeah. So the first few days or the first year or so, my mom and dad were I think they were doing counseling or some shit. This is a story my mom told me. My parents were doing counseling to see if they can salvage their marriage, blah blah blah. Long story short, it didn't work. But at this point, they had like agreed, and you know, this shit is not working. Let's go our separate ways. So now I think my mom was still doing like counseling, but alone. And you know, because it's from church, like when you start, you pray, when you finish, you pray. So now the person who was doing her counseling was a pastor's wife, but she was at like she is a trained counselor. So she's like, okay, let's pray. And you know what she was praying for? She was praying that my parents get back together. And my mom told me she had her praying, obviously, because there were just the two of them. And she told her, in quotes, kama hiyo ndio maombi unaniombea, sitaki maombi yako. Like she literally said, if those are the kind of prayers you want to pray for me, I don't want those prayers. And you know, okay, I could tell a pastor that I want you to pray for me in this and these ways, or for this and this to happen, or because I have this and this problem. But they don't know what I've gone through and how I want those prayers answered, or what I want from God, or how I want like my solutions to manifest. I know that story made as much sense as it could possibly make, because I'm not giving out here TMI information. But yeah, you imagine you don't need a pastor to pray for you. You also don't have to go to church. That's your choice anyway. But yeah, so zingine, this church will disappoint you more than you could think. But they're also human beings. Doesn't mean that they should be doing what they're doing, like tolerating hypocrites and people who are outrightly doing the wrong thing and not condoning them or calling them out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're human beings, they make mistakes, but there's some things that I feel like they should lead by example. Like, if we are the ones protesting because of this, I feel like they should be in the forefront telling this man, give you a platform. So now why are you oppressing us as the people of Kenya? Because if you're the president and we gave you a platform, I feel like you owe us an explanation first. Because, bro, we literally put a place for you here and said, come and talk to Kenyans here. Now you're disappointing us. Anyway, I'm still pissed at the church. That's a problem that I cannot solve single-handedly. The church is also very tone deaf, as you can probably see, because they're still not talking about this. They're just getting handouts from our dear first lady, who only wants to pray for the nation, and her office that was to get sijui 600 million was for prayers. And damn, anyway, before I dive into this whole story again, I'll just leave this here. I hope you have a great day. I hope as you listen to this, even if it's usiku, I hope you had a good night, or you will have a good night. Yeah, this is the first, I think, episode I'm recording, and I will post it tomorrow. Yeah, because the ones I have are just long story. It's a long story, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed it, please follow for more. Yeah, follow my Instagram at smylittleconversations.ke, and my personal Instagram is shiko.e, ciku.e. Yeah, thanks for listening. Bye.